In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program on LancasterOhio.tv. We're also carried by a number of radio affiliates here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, that join us each and every week. The show is produced at Fairfield Christian Academy. Our executive producer is Kelly Roberts, lines the guests up, gets the questions together, and does a lot of behind-the-scenes work. With us today is Lieutenant Alex Lape, our Patrol Bureau Commander, among other things. So it's good to see you.
Appreciate you having me on.
Well, it's good. It's been a while. We were talking about that, and it's kind of funny how time slips away, isn't it?
Yeah. First of the year is the last time I was here.
That's right. Well, before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been at the Sheriff's Office for 24 years. I graduated from Eastland Adult Education Vocational School for my police training, the Police Academy training. That was in 1992, and I spent a year at Mifflin Township as an auxiliary unit there, and then came to the Sheriff's Office in 93 and started full-time in 94. Been there ever since. So altogether it's 25 years in law enforcement. I live in Pickerington with my wife Sherry, and I have a son, Tyler, who's also in high school there, and I have two older daughters that are both living their lives, one in Michigan and one here in Ohio. They're both enjoying the world and getting along pretty good.
And you have a grandchild.
And I have a granddaughter who lives in Michigan. I just got to spend the weekend with her, so that was kind of fun. She's getting pretty fast, so it's having a hard time keeping up.
So, what are some things that the Patrol Bureau is responsible for?
Well, first and foremost, the Patrol Bureau's responsibility is to protect lives, protect and serve. Public safety is our number one goal in our mission, and so we implement programs and do different things in order to ensure that we can provide that to the residents of the county.
And we also have a number of satellite substations.
Right. We have a substation in Pickerington and one in Canal Winchester. Some of the other things that the patrol's tasked with are responding to complaints from residents. We document incidents. We corroborate with the prosecutor's office to file any appropriate criminal charges that result out of those incidents. We also provide vacation watch to homes. We serve the subpoena processes for all the courts within the county, so there's never a time where we really don't have something that keeps us busy.
And we also have officers assigned to some of the schools, right?
Yeah, we have school resource officers at a number of the schools in the county. They have specialized training to help them facilitate that position with CRACE or ALICE type training. They share that information with the schools and provide some of the preparation that they might need in the event of an incident there. They also kind of help out the kids anytime they might have a problem or an issue. A lot of times the kids are comfortable coming and talking to these school resource officers, and they go to an annual conference that provides training there at those conferences to help them facilitate in that regard.
And we also have a canine.
And we have a canine. We have one canine, and his name is Carr.
Okay.
He's a Belgian Malinois. He's a really good dog. He's a dual-purpose dog. He, along with his handler, who I commonly tease when I don't see the dog, I ask him where the brains of the operation. The dog's pretty smart. The dog, he's dual-purpose trained, so he can track. He can not only track, he can also locate in narcotics type searches, and he also will protect his handler.
And there's probably another thing that I think a lot of people may be surprised that we are actually involved with. We have a deputy that's assigned to weights and scales,
Right.
weighing the trucks, making sure that they're having the appropriate weights,
Right.
and also we have a litter officer.
Yeah, the weights and scales officer's pretty busy. He's out and about throughout the county. Anytime you see a sign on any county road where the weight reduction has been reduced by the engineer's office, it's the weights and scales officer who enforces that reduction. So he may stop somebody and they may be overweight, they may not be overweight, but he's busy in that position, making sure that our litter officer, anytime that typically he works hand in hand with the townships, they typically will contact him when they're out, their road crews are out, they find some trash somewhere, they'll contact him and he'll actually take that trash as evidence and take it and comb through it and try to find the person responsible for depositing that in the place that they shouldn't have, and they'll follow up with them. Sometimes, give them the option to clean it up. Other times, he'll issue a citation for it. So it just depends on the circumstances a lot.
I think that it really it irritates me a lot of times when you'll be driving along, you'll see a couch
Right.
that'll be thrown off the side of the road, or in a park, the people throwing their trash out there, or something like that.
Well, and he does a really good job with that position and in researching it, and he'll do a pretty good investigation to determine who put that item there, and a lot of times he has good success with that.
Yeah, I'm often surprised that you do. I think it's a lot better than it was like when I grew up. I mean, a lot of people, it wasn't the campaign it is today to stop littering, but it still is unfortunate when you drive down the highway and you'll see cups and
Right.
plates or whatever thrown out windows, fast food bags and those kind of things.
And a lot of people, if they don't realize it, they can soon find out that that's a pretty serious offense. It's not just
Right.
a minor offense. And when I say serious, it can be a first-degree misdemeanor, so it's not that serious, but it's a little bit more than a traffic citation. So.
Right. Now, I know it was been a couple years ago that you did a lot of training on active shooters.
Right.
So this might be a good time. We have about 5 minutes left in this program to talk a little bit about that training and how it might relate to some of the people that are watching today.
Sure.
Or listening today.
Well, we provided a civilian response to an emergency situation training is what we called it at the time. And basically it was an informational awareness type training that prepared everybody in the event that they might be somewhere out at the mall or at their place of employment or anywhere. We try to cover the whole spectrum of places where somebody might be where they're exposed to a situation like this. And that training, I think we did with about probably 4,000 people altogether during that time. That we put
it
that
was
out
so
there.
well attended.
And we continue to provide that to the citizens today, the residents of the county. A lot of it, like I said, is just an awareness thing. If you think you hear gunshots, don't try to go out and investigate and see what's going on, what that really is. You have to assume that that something bad is happening. Find the nearest exit. Get yourself or your family out, out of the building. Hopefully, you can get back to your car and get out of that area. That's kind of our philosophy is not to hide, but to try to escape if you can and get out of that environment. And
recently, at least in the last couple of years, we've seen one of the vehicles of choices have now been, or one of the methods have been the vehicles where they actually run into crowds, go into neighborhoods, and that's something that you really couldn't permit, or you couldn't prevent very often.
Yeah, there's not a lot of preparation you can do for something like that other than the awareness piece comes in a lot. If you're somewhere where there's a festival or a fair going on and there's a lot of people out on foot in an area, the only thing that you could do is just kind of keep your head on a swivel and keep your wits about you. And if you see something that doesn't look right, just remove yourself from that situation if you have the opportunity to do that. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of preparation for that other than just to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, I know in some of the federal buildings and things, or they've kind of constructed those with large concrete flower pots or things like that would stop a vehicle. Mm-hmm. But typically, living in a free society, it would be very difficult to prevent those kind of acts of terrorism.
Even like in New York City, they've filled dump trucks full of sand and parked them in different locations for different events, like at Times Square during the ball drop for New Year's Eve. It's sad that we have to take those kind of precautions to combat this idea that this is a potential that could happen in a large crowd that's out, just enjoying themselves with their families.
And one thing I've always tried to remind our citizens that Fairfield County is a safe and secure community, and we like to prepare. We do. I know you're part of the SWAT team. We try to prepare for those things, but the reality is that we live in a safe. The schools here are safe. The parks are safe. The shopping centers are safe. So the chances of us becoming a target is remote.
Yeah.
But yet we still want to be prepared for that.
Right. Yeah. We try to provide awareness training to the citizens. We routinely provide training to our deputies. We corroborate with municipal police agencies within the county. So we have a very good working relationship. If an incident or the potentiality for some type of incident arises, we have a pretty good network of law enforcement in this county that we can kind of come together and do what we need to prepare for something like that.
Yeah, and the working relationship between the agencies in Fairfield County and all governmental agencies within the county seem to be very good.
Yeah.
And when you look at a lot of other areas or a lot of communities where there's fighting or there's jealousy between the departments and these kind of things, we really don't see a lot of that in Fairfield County.
No, and we actually even spread out across the borders of the county, and there's times where we exchange and share information and training with Franklin County, Columbus Police Department, Perry County Sheriff's Office, New Lex, Logan, Hocking. So we do have a very good working relationship with all of the members of the law enforcement community within the county and on the surrounding areas, Pickaway County. We just have a very good relationship. So something we want to maintain as well.
Yeah, well, those things are so important. Well, we're just about out of time. I'd like to have you back next week because we've got a lot of things to talk about. We're into a new facility,
right?
And we have some new vehicles, mm-hmm. And maybe talk a little bit about some crime trends or some things we're seeing out there in the neighborhoods.
Sure.
So if you can join us next week, that'd be great.
Be glad to.
Our Patrol Bureau Commander, Alex Lape, 24-year veteran of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, and does a terrific job. Well, we're just about out of time. I do want to take this time to thank each and every one of you that joins us every week. And again, mentioning Fairfield Christian Academy, the students here that have produced this program, thanks to them for putting this program together, J.T. Burcham, their instructor. Well, the clock on the wall says we're just about out of time. Until next week, same time, same place. If you're driving, buckle up, be careful, God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.